Coverage you can count on. This is KCBD News Channel 11's Daybreak Today.
Now at 6 o'clock, high winds across the South Plains caused damage over the weekend. We'll take a look at some photos sent in by viewers. Plus, the National Weather Service confirms a tornado touched down in Perryton over the weekend. And Israel agrees to a U.S. proposed prisoner exchange with Hamas. The full story is ahead. Today is Monday, March 25th. You're watching Daybreak Today. Good morning, and thanks for waking up with us. I'm Angie Wynn.
I'm Steve Devine.
And Steve has had his hands full this morning with forecast. And I mean, even coming into today from yesterday, just crazy winds.
Yeah, and that wind is bringing in some significant changes. Okay. So wind gusts yesterday at Lubbock, 73 miles per hour recorded at the Lubbock airport. Now, the winds won't be as strong today, but we're still looking at some pretty gusty conditions with a cold front that's pushing through the panhandle right now. And this is bringing some snow to the southwestern panhandle, so expecting some of that to move into the northwestern part of the viewing area a little later this morning. Again, the way things are set up, not expecting accumulation on our area roads. Elsewhere, mainly out east this morning, we've been seeing a few very light returns. There may be a few sprinkles reaching the ground right now, right around the Snyder area. So the chance of measurable precipitation is quite low, but again, possibly a little bit of light snow in the northwest. Elsewhere, a couple of sprinkles will be possible. Take a look at the temperatures that I have here going through the day in the 40s this morning, pretty much all day long. We'll probably peak at about 50 degrees, but that'll be pretty brief. And the wind, again, not as strong as yesterday, but still quite breezy, adding quite a chill to the air. We are looking at the possibility of a freeze. Actually, freeze is looking likely tonight. We'll talk more about that and some warmer weather coming up here in a few minutes. Angie?
Perfect. Thank you, Steve. Pardon me. Along those lines, some folks are cleaning up this morning after high winds with gusts up to 73 miles per hour, just like Steve mentioned, caused damage all across the South Plains. Let's take a look. The West Carlisle Volunteer Fire Department sent photos of this pontoon boat flipped upside down by the wind. Viewers also sent photos to KCBD of tree damage from across the area. Outside the Yoakum County Courthouse in Plains, several tree branches were knocked to the ground. We received these photos of a tree uprooted by the wind as well. In the northeast corner of the Panhandle, the National Weather Service has confirmed a tornado touchdown near Perryton. We've learned the tornado damaged the Ochiltree General Hospital just south of Perryton, scattering debris everywhere, as you can see. However, the hospital reports the ER and clinic are unaffected. All patients are safe. According to the Weather Service, a barn was damaged and farm equipment knocked over as well. Perryton was still recovering, or is still recovering rather, from a tornado that hit the town last June, so it hasn't even been a year. It killed 3 people and injured dozens. Spring is here, which is normally the time of year our area sees some unpredictable weather. KCBD's Allison Hill is here with a look at the difference between a weather warning and a weather watch.
Good morning, Angie. We've been talking a lot about severe weather lately. Over the weekend, the Science Spectrum held Severe Weather Awareness Day. Yesterday, our area was under a high wind warning, and the National Weather Service confirmed that a tornado did touch down in the northeastern panhandle yesterday. So this time of year, we get some unpredictable weather, and it's important to stay aware and prepared. One of the best things to understand is the difference between a weather warning and a weather watch. So right here is a high wind warning. This is what we were under yesterday. The National Weather Service describes a warning as weather that is, quote, occurring, imminent, or likely. It can pose a threat to life or property, and it also encourages people in the path to take certain action depending on the type of weather that is expected. Now, this is a wind watch, and that, on the other hand, is issued when bad weather is expected, but it is unclear when or where it will happen. It can be a heads up for people in that area to plan and prepare for the anticipated weather. So as we move into April and May and start seeing more active weather, it's important to stay weather aware and understand the difference between a weather watch and warning. Meteorologist Steve Devine says it's kind of like a taco. If you have the ingredients, it's a watch, and if all the ingredients come together, it's a warning. Back to you, Angie.
Thank you, Allison. Of course, you can download our free KCBD First Alert weather app to stay in the know, as always. Here at home, we are taking a look at the latest police report. Officers have released the name of a man killed in a central Lubbock shooting over the weekend. Investigators say 37-year-old Marshawn Shepard was among a group of people outside a restaurant Sunday morning when he was shot. Officers say it happened at 50th and Avenue Q just before 2 a.m. The shooter fled the scene. There's no word on what led up to the shooting, but we will, of course, continue to follow the story and bring you the latest. New details are unfolding right now out of the Middle East, where Israel and Hamas could soon swap hostages and prisoners. Details are emerging about the U.S. exchange proposal, which Israel has already agreed to. As Amy Kiley reports, it's now up to Hamas.
Whether Hamas will say yes, will it say no, or will it say yes, but?
Israel is waiting for Hamas to respond after agreeing to a U.S. prisoner exchange proposal. It includes 40 Israeli hostages and around 700 Palestinian prisoners. Among them are 100 Palestinians serving life sentences for killing Israeli nationals.
And the Israelis want to have a veto on the identity of those prisoners.
The CNN analyst who helped break the news predicts some Americans could go free in the exchange. He says it could take a couple of days for Hamas negotiators to pass on a response from their leader.
This is Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar in Gaza, who is in a bunker some 100 feet under the ground.
The news comes the same week that Israeli officials are visiting Washington. Today, the defense minister is in town. Later this week, a different delegation is set to discuss the southern Gaza city of Rafah. The humanitarian crisis there is sparking outrage.
There is no targeting of Hamas in precipitating a mass famine of 1 million people, half of whom are children.
Israel is planning a ground invasion in Rafah. Vice President Kamala Harris warns that could result in consequences from the U.S. American officials are worried about the more than 1 million civilians living there.
I have studied the maps. There's nowhere for those folks to go.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Here in the U.S., former President Trump must submit a $464 million bond today in New York. A judge found Trump and his two oldest sons liable for lying about the value of their properties on financial records. Under New York law, Trump can appeal the penalty but must post a bond for the entire amount. If he cannot pay, New York's Attorney General could begin seizing some of Trump's properties or bank accounts. It's 6:06 and we're checking in once again with Steve Devine. Steve, what are folks waking up to at this hour? Good morning.
Good morning. Much less wind, but we still have some pretty breezy, somewhat windy conditions to deal with, and that's going to be adding quite a chill. Right now, though, 46 degrees with a mostly fair sky. Notice the wind out at the Lubbock Airport westerly at 18, so the current wind chill reading is 39. Very chilly start to the day. Overall weather pattern, strong low pressure area passing to the north of us is sending cold air our way. The cold front is in the panhandle right now, and just along that front and just ahead of it, some snow shower activity is broken out, and this is drifting towards the northwestern part of the viewing area. Now, do expect some at least light snow in the northwest this morning. Not expecting accumulation on our roads, but with the breeze, some blowing snow will be possible. That could create some limited visibility. Speaking of the wind today, notice the wind direction shifting more to the northwest here. Still looking at about 10 to 20, 15 to 25 miles per hour. We'll likely get some gusts above that. So that does add quite a chill to the air. And speaking of a chill, high today only about 50 degrees here in the Lubbock area. I expect us to be generally in the 40s just about all day long, with a high today up in the northwest only of about 40 degrees. May still see some mid-60s in the southeast. This is the cold air moving in from the north and sweeping across the area as we go through the day. Then overnight, notice the north wind here, but the speed dropping off. Plus, expecting our skies to clear out by early tomorrow morning. So, with that air moving in from the north, the wind speeds dropping off, skies clearing, a freeze is looking likely for much of the area, including Lubbock. Possibly even a hard freeze here in the Lubbock area. May not quite make it to freezing over the southeast, might have a frost in that area. So in terms of the 7-day forecast that's coming up for us, looking at about 50 today, 59 tomorrow after the possibility of that freeze tomorrow morning. But Angie, the Easter weekend is looking very warm.
And that's great news. Thank you, Steve. It's 6:09 on your Monday. Still to come on Daybreak today. Coming up, this week's focus on ag. We are taking a look at Capitol Hill, where there have been fewer farmers and ranchers in legislative positions. Plus, a regional spelling bee winner is now advancing to Washington, D.C. The full story's ahead. Stay with us. You're watching Daybreak today on KCBD News Channel 11.